are FBA, Negroes, freedmen's, black and whatever we want to call ourselves, are we getting deported?
No. What are they going to deport us to? If they were going to deport us, they would have sent us all to Liberia when people were actually leaving. We're not going anywhere. Where could they deport us to? Really?
All right. So this is what I wanted to bring up. What is this? Why Democrats? Okay, no, not this one. Because this was a clip. This was a clip by Simone Sanders. She's a MSNBC host.
The lady with the toe head.
What you call her?
Ain't my head shaped like a toe? What's a big toe, like your toe? She has a toe head.
Oh my God. I never thought of it in that way.
I call her the toe head lady. Yeah. No offense to Simone. It's just the shape of your head. But yes, her. I know exactly who you're talking about.
All right. So that's what I want to talk to you about. And I want to bring a couple of things. So, of course, it's about the deportation, migration. So I want to play this clip. And this is by Sky News Australia.
She seems to think that black citizens are somehow going to be part of the deportation program.
To me, that is why Kilmar Abrego Garcia's specific case, the case of the gentleman who's a makeup artist out of California who was also sent to that prison. That is why the 75% of the folks who have been sent, the men who have been sent there that don't have criminal records, that is why this is so important. Because if they could do it to them, if they could snatch students off the street without any pushback or recourse, they will do it to any of us. And to be very clear, it's going to be the people of color and vulnerable communities that are next in line.
I think that's right. And that's certainly part of why the African-American community is so strongly behind the supporting Kilmar.
Yeah, we're like, we are not for this.
Yeah, because as you just said, if they're going to whisk them away, what are they going to do with us?
There you go, Coleman.
You see that brother laugh too. That's ridiculous. That, like, the fact that they're trying to lump us all together, and the fact that they tried to gaslight America by saying African Americans are on this side. No, we're not. No, we are not. No matter where you go in the United States of America, the Negro is like, send them home. Like, this is the message of the ancestors. Frederick Douglass said the same thing in the 1840s that we're saying in 2025. So no, this towhead lady is lying. I don't even know what like gives her credibility to speak on behalf of us. I don't know who is elevating her to this platform to read this script on behalf of the Negro. We didn't ask her to do this. If you ask your own family members how they feel about this man getting deported, they're going to say, good, he was here illegally anyway. We got our own problems to deal with, but this is the lie that they do. And that's why, again, we got to get rid of black. We got to get rid of black, because blackness, I guess, in a way, does include immigrants who are up in arms about this, but the Negro couldn't care less.
Yes. And she's talking about that one particular man. I keep forgetting his name, but the Trump administration said he was part of the gangs, the Latre, whatever gang.
MS-13.
Yes. And the man out of Maryland, they were saying he has a kid and a wife, and I guess he has some papers. You know the guy I'm talking about?
From Maryland with the tattoos on his fingers.
Right. So the Democrats are holding on to his story and that narrative, but it's just like, okay, what is the proof? So he's in an El Salvadorian prison. I don't know if he came back or whatever. So it's that legalities that they're trying to force the Trump administration to bring him back. So she's using his situation, saying, well, if they just pick up innocent people and deport them, what do you think they're going to do to us? And I'm like, who is the us? Like, we're not going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen to us. Now, I did hear something. I think somebody asked Trump, would you consider shipping prison inmates in America to the prison in El Salvador? And then I don't know if he didn't say yes, but he was like, oh, that's somewhat of an idea. Something he alluded something to in that, but that would be unconstitutional. But other than that, like, that's not our fight.
It's not our fight. I wish they would leave us alone. That's what the Negro needs to start responding with. Leave us alone. That's not our business. Every time I go on Fox News, Dana, that's what I tell America. This is not the business of the Negro. We don't care. We support you. White America, you are not racist for wanting this deportation move because we want it too. Get them out of here. But again, because we have this people of color, you see the first thing that the lady Simone said was, oh, this is going to affect people of color. That was to build the foundation for the foolery she was about to speak on behalf of the Negro. But I do appreciate the gentleman there. I think that is Dr. Gates, who was sitting there. He said the African American community. That's why, again, African American is dead. Jesse Jackson doesn't get to rename our ethnicity. We were African American in 1988. I wasn't even sitting up in 1988. Okay, so well, I was sitting up. I wasn't walking in '88. However, he does not have that power, but he did that because he wanted to create a hyphenated identity for us so that we could more better identify with immigrant communities. So cut it off, y'all. Like every time someone says that this is our fight, ignore them, tell them that this is none of our business. Don't let them gaslight you into it. Don't let them guilt trip you into it. These people broke the law. Think about how many people you know in the feds right now. I mean, I don't know a lot of people in federal jail, but I know some people in federal jail, and you might too. Did the federal government cut them a deal? No. They went straight to federal prison. Therefore, illegals are going to be held at least to that standard.
I want to share this. So I guess Fox News had a town hall. They took a poll. Voters trust Trump over congressional Democrats to handle nation's main problems. So it was a mixture, I guess, Republicans and Democrats. And Harris Faulkner, she was hosting it. So I want to play this clip and have you get your reaction to it.
Okay.
I think that there is not a single person that we can look to in the Democratic Party right now to say that that's our leader. However, with that being said, I think taking the one person who's there over a party is also quite dangerous because of some of the things that he's done. Taking away due process from folks is not okay. He's quick to call out when he feels like his rights are being infringed upon, when yet the Fifth Amendment says that every person, it doesn't specify citizens, it says every person shall have due process.
So we don't guarantee constitutional rights to certain illegal aliens, particularly when they are suspected of violent crimes, which is why we have a finalized deportation list. And it's pretty clear. And I think some of the cases that are public now, individuals were on that. So where are you saying that due process? I mean, to even get to that point, they must have gone through process.
Due process. Okay, so let's look at President Trump as an example. We call him a felon because he has been convicted of felonies. Some of these folks, without the actual due process, do not technically qualify as illegal immigrants because they have never had their cases heard. Now,
well, wait,
with
how
that
did they
being
get
said,
here is the question.
That's fine. But, there's, just like we say when someone is allegedly being accused of something, it's the same process, right? However they got here, due process is what gives them that status of being illegal or not. So without that process, you're essentially just taking up people off of the streets, giving them this without their actual process and deporting them. Now, am I saying some of these people should not have been deported? No.
Do we agree that if you come across our border in an illegal manner that you have committed your first crime?
I believe you are entitled to due process.
That is the difference.
So I guess she was going to say that is the difference, because once you cross the border, you committed a crime.
Yes, yes, that's all I've been saying the whole time. When you crawl through that hole, you committed a felony. The United States government now has a duty to capture and prosecute you. I don't understand why this only applies to Negroes or American citizens. This is asinine, and that's why we got to ignore it. This man that was talking might not even be a Negro. Could be not. But that's again why we must delineate, because he could be speaking to his own situation. I don't care. You couldn't care less, Dana. I couldn't care less. Harris couldn't care less. Everybody we're talking to couldn't care less, unless they're watching these weird MSNBC shows where they're like, Negroes, you all are next. As Jim Crow Joe said, they're going to put you back in chains. You going back to the plantation. They play these Confederate games with our people to get in our brains and give us a psyop to get back to the plantation. This man, again, may not be Negro, but it's important that he identifies as not being us, because that's not who we are.
Well, there are a lot of people who are foundational Black Americans, and they echo his same sentiments because they're saying, well, at least give them due process, whether they have papers or not. And the problem with that is the prior administration allowed over 10 million people, between 10 to 20, minimum of 10, up to 20 or more million people in here within his 4 years under the Biden administration. Everyone, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have enough judges. We don't have enough processing clerks to let everybody have due process, which is why you are a criminal, because you committed a crime by sneaking. You didn't even cross the border. You snuck in. You didn't go up to that,
The
when people
booth?
drive in Mexico. Yeah, yeah.
No.
So it's like, especially if you came here, and especially it's like we have no record of you being here for the last 10 years. We know you came here with all those caravans. No, you got to go.
No,
There's
Dana,
no due
it's deeper than
process.
that, though. It's deeper than that. If you're here on an expired visa, it's time to go. If you snuck in 30 years ago, it's time to go. If you came in through the hole with the caravan, it's time to go. Anybody that's not supposed to be here has to leave. Get the paddy wagons and start scooping them up and shipping them to the border. This is not the humanitarian crisis. It's upon us as American citizens, because again, our tax dollars are being spent on them. Our children are, not even our children, but the society is exposed to the diseases that they're bringing. Again, before they had this measles outbreak in Texas, that was happening right here in the city of Chicago last March. We had to deal with that as Chicagoans. We're dealing with higher property taxes. We're dealing with more crime. They're doing heinous things. Do you hear me? Crazy things here in the city of Chicago. People are now using them as paramilitary forces within Chicago gangs. Again,
Yeah.
that is what we're focused on. And these are the people who are bringing it here. If you chose to pay your money, all thousands upon thousands of dollars for the cartel to bring you to the United States of America, you paid to commit a crime, and now it's time to go.
Right. And yeah, because I look at it, wait a minute, where did you get that money from to pay them? And listen, that's a gamble, because say if you paid them 5,000 or even 2,000, and you are a mother with kids or a family or just a single person, and then you're here for 2 years, right? Or 3 years, depending on when you got here under the Biden administration, the time is ticking that you're going to be deported by the Trump administration. So you wasted your money. Like, you could have kept saving your money, try to get here via a visa the right way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people pay thousands of dollars to get scooped up. And this is only 100 days, only 100 days in. And how many people did they round up so far?
It's not that many.
So isn't it over 10,000?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even a 500,000. They gotta deputize us, okay? Deputize the
No, no,
citizens.
no. They're not. It's only 100 days, so it's like, I think by the end of the 4 years, it's probably going to be some millions. But see, all those, it's not going to really. If it's over the 10 million people, it's not. Let's just say it's 10 million people. Trump administration in 4 years. You know, if they deport 1 million, that's great. That's you really doing your job. Like you said, they will have to deputize regular citizens like you and I and train us, but who has the infrastructure and the time to do that? So the Biden administration, I don't know, they really screwed up America with the open border, and not only that, we definitely have terrorist cells that came through that border that's already here. So the Trump administration is working overtime. You talk about the FBI, the DEA, Tom Homan, all those, the border patrols. Everyone is working overtime to try to stop the bleeding.
Mhm. It's
Um,
like I said, it's nuts. It's nuts. We have to remember that, always remember, those who are watching, that the rapper Lil Durk is in prison not only for those murders, but because he and his friends were getting radicalized by Islamists in the city of Chicago. When I saw them wearing those long tunics and the Arab scars, I said, these Negroes on their way to jail, and all of that came to a screeching halt. Okay. There is a lot of socio-cultural things that are going on against the United States and these black communities. And it is
mhm.
happening because these borders are open and we have unchecked immigration. Because what people do is they come to the United States and then they try to radicalize the Negro against the government. That's what happened
Mhm.
in the 1900s, right? And it's happening again, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. And I hope that my Donnie does better. I really, really, really hope that he does better, because right now I don't think that they're getting enough people.
So it says how many illegal immigrants are in the U.S. in 2025. It says March 2025, FAIR estimates that there were approximately 18.6 million illegal immigrants in the United States, which is 11% higher than the previous estimate, 16.8 million in June 2023. So the White House totes that nearly 140,000 deportations. Wait, let me just highlight this. This is from USA Today. Um, the White House totes nearly 140 deportations, but data says roughly half actually deported. So President Trump's goal of deporting 1 million people a year, so he wants to do 1 million a year, 4 years, that's 4 million. If he's in for another four, or another Republican, let's just say, and if it's a million a year, that'll be a total of 8 million. It's going to take 2 terms to clean up this mess. So they say an administration will have to, it says, to meet President Trump goal of deporting 1 million people a year, the administration will have to have sent well over 100,000 people packing in his first 100 days. And on Trump's 99th day, his border czar says an administration is on track deporting 139 people since Trump inauguration. So they're on schedule.
Well, remember, or maybe not remember, but in the early 1900s, the United States of America deported all Mexicans, right? I mean, I'm not saying we have to deport all the Mexicans, but I think it was an astronomical amount of Mexicans that were deported, because I remember watching it in this movie called Mi Familia or something like that. But it's about these Mexicans in California, and J Lo was the mama who got deported. And I say this to say that if they could deport all those people in the early 1900s with no technology, limited buses, they put them people on trains and wagons and got them on the other side of the border. Like,
I mean, in
what?
the 20th century, not the 1900s.
I
Well,
know,
1900,
yeah.
yeah. Was it the 40s? It was under Eisenhower.
Maybe, I don't know. I just remember the movie.
Yeah, well, it was wetback operation. That was the operation, and he coined. I think it was Eisenhower. He coined the term. He was president. Wetback operation. He rounded up. Was it millions of
I'm
Mexicans? It was
telling you,
so much.
all of them. Anyone he could catch, you were on the bus and you were gone. Okay, or not the bus. They had, like I said, these train cars. And what I'm saying is, if the United States could do it back then, they could do it again. I don't understand what the holdup
Thank
is.
you, B. Muhammad. Thank you, Dana with no data is trying to be the new coon disown. Yes, yeah, I am. I want to be better than Candace, but thank you. So
Shout
I
out to
guess you're one of
Candace. Yesterday was her birthday. Happy birthday, Candace.
okay. Either you're a tether, or you just one of those slave Democrat plantation Negroes. So yeah. Listen, P Ray, where can people find you? ChicagoRed.org.
ChicagoRed.org. Today I have on my Chicago Red shirts. Chicago Red is the premier urban patriot organization. We are the ones who got all of this started and jumping and popping right here off the west side of Chicago, where the people are happier and the sun shines brighter. So you can meet me at chicagored.org. You can also follow me on X at chicagoredp. I am still working my way back into social media after the hacking, so you can see like I'm not as active as I was before. So I gotta like rebuild that habit again. But yeah, this thing is doing its part. It's doing its part right now. My main goal is to get back on the Chicago airwaves. I am the hostess of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem. That show is what got the movement going in Chicago. And Chicago, like I said, is going red. I want to leave you with this last piece of data, Dana.
Mhm.
Remember I told you about the non-for-profit money that dropped, and now we're fighting against this economy. Well, more money has dropped, more money is coming. I don't know where they're pulling all this non-for-profit money from, but there are lots of people that are going to be paid soon. So with that, I also ask you all to pray for the movement, because money out of sight starts fights. We're fighting up against the billion-dollar economy, and a whole lot of other stuff, but they are working very hard to squash the red movement here in the great city of Chicago, but we love ourselves too much to let it die. Thank you.
Dana with the data. Dana with the data.